Oh, here's your Backstage pass.
Quiet on the set.
Action!
Welcome to Sedona's Backstage Pass with Shondra, presented by Chef Lisa Dahl. This is your inside look into culture, curators, and creative artists. And now, your host, Shondra.
Welcome, my VIPs. You've got your Backstage Pass and you are in. Oh my gosh, this is such a fun show. You're going to be so excited about this. Really fun. You know, you always have to tune in on Saturdays at 10 a.m. You can hear it streaming live on mellowmountainradio.com, or if you'd like to hear it on the radio, you can go to KAZM 106.5 FM and 780 AM every Saturday, 10 a.m. And if you miss it, you can find it on Spotify, Pandora Radio, Apple Podcasts, even YouTube. Really, this is so cool. I'm so excited. This is my 34th show. Unbelievable. Really fun. Now, I've got some cool things to tell you about, and then I really have some cool things to tell you about. Matter of fact, the entire show I've got cool things to tell you about. Let's talk about holiday events. This week is absolutely packed. If you're coming into town, or for those of you who are listening who are residents, you have to take these in. I don't know how you're going to get to all of them, but try, okay? First of all, Santa Claus is coming to town today from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. over at Tlaquepaque Arts and Shopping Village, which is right on 179, where 179 hits 89A in Sedona. This is a really big event, okay? It's holiday music, cookie decorating, photo opportunities, and of course, Santa will be there with his elf. You'll have a last-minute opportunity to tell him what you always wanted. Okay, now, today, you could do that, then run over to the Heritage Museum at 3 o'clock to hear Michael Peach, great actor, doing his live reading of The Christmas Carol, and that is in the Apple Shed over at the Sedona Heritage Museum. That's in Uptown. Also, I want to let you know that the Verde Canyon Railroad is running, and they're doing their magical Christmas journey that runs all the way through December 24th, which is next week already. And the Sedona International Film Festival has some great events coming up, including one that's happening at the Sedona Performing Arts Center on December 27th at 7 p.m., and it's a holiday magic show with Paul Vigil. And that's just going to be so totally fun. I think maybe that might be at Mary Fisher. You're going to have to go to SedonaFilmFestival.com to check all the things that are going on. I'm going to tell you there's a lot going on. Like, for instance, Esteban's got a concert. He is now the in-home artist in residence. Esteban, the great guitar player, he's internationally renowned. He's going to be there tonight, December 20th. Everything at one time, right? At 7 p.m. over at Mary Fisher. So there's lots going on there. And I want to thank Sedona Ballet. Check them out, sedonaballet.org. They are the ones who are sponsoring this calendar of events. And I sure appreciate you, Winnie Munch. You are the executive director, and we love you. Okay, so now you want to hear about something that happened. I've got to tell you. Lisa Dahl and the Dahl Group, the restaurant group, who are the presenting sponsors of this show, I have to tell you, they had their big weekend gala. It was a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this last Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The first one was at Mariposa. I'm so excited I can't even talk fast enough. Patrick Schweiss of the Sedona Film Festival was emceeing, did a live auction. This was all for, quote, the forgotten people. And I say this because this was a fundraiser and a celebration for the 30th anniversary of Dahl and DeLuca, and it happened at 3 different restaurants. This one, which was on Friday, was a luncheon, and it was at Mariposa, the gorgeous Mariposa. It's beautiful. If you have never gone, go. And there had to have been over 100 people there, 120 maybe. Beautiful sit-down luncheon. But first, we saw Lisa Dahl's Blessed with Grace documentary, beautiful movie over at Mary Fisher. Everybody was shuttled back to Mariposa. There were drummers, a flautist, a Native American flautist, and guess what? All of us got these little whistle flutes that he made specifically for everybody. It was incredible. And then, of course, Soup Hope, which is I can't even tell you, it's the most delicious soup ever. Very nutritious. And Lisa has come up with this great recipe. And this was the introduction, I should say. This whole weekend, especially the one at Mariposa, this big luncheon, was the introduction to her Lisa Dahl Foundation, which, by the way, the website is LisaDahlFoundation.org. I know I'm all over the map here, but I am excited about this. All of the proceeds when you buy Soup Hope, which is available at her Piece of Lisa in the village of Oak Creek. That's a whole nother story. You can buy it there. It's frozen. You can just put it in a pan, warm it up. It's absolutely delicious. All the proceeds of the sales goes to help Native people. This is a big deal for her, and she just wants to feed and nurture people, especially the, quote, forgotten people. So Mariposa was all about that. Dr. Lee, who is a Native American, came out and talked. She was amazing. And the flautist, he did a big was maybe like a 10-minute piece that he did. It was beautiful. And the live auction. The next day was the evening event at Dahl and DeLuca, 30th anniversary of Dahl and DeLuca. Whole nother kind of feel. That one was formal. I did not go to that one. Beautiful restaurant, by the way, Dahl and DeLuca. And then Sunday, yours truly here was there to greet everybody. I think it was like 100 people that came into Piece of Lisa at the village there, the village of Oak Creek. Go to that restaurant. It's so much fun. And it was all rock and roll. I didn't know that I could do that, but I'm happy to say I can still do that. Running around with my guitar and the whole bit. Running around and singing rock and roll, putting aprons on guys, tying them up, and selling aprons and her new wine label. There's just so many things going on. And, of course, Soup Hope. All three were a huge success. I'm so happy to have been a part of that. So I'm going to tell you, the reason I'm putting this in the calendar events is I want you to visit Mariposa Restaurant. Phenomenal. Make sure you go to Dahl and DeLuca and congratulate them on their 30th year anniversary. And then Piece of Lisa, there's one on the west side. Yes, one in West Sedona. But go to the one in the village. It's a lot of fun. I mean, that's just a completely different Piece of Lisa. So there you go. There's some things to do, and I cannot wait to introduce my first guest, and who, of course, is here in the studio. And I say this because it's always a delight. It is always a delight sitting across from me, and I am kind of giggly. I'm like giggly because we have such a great time. Chef Lisa Dahl, you're here.
I'm always like, I feel like I'm starting to chuckle and get all gooey before you even get your first monologue out, because it's like we're kids in a candy shop.
I know.
And if only people could see us. And that's the only thing I wish.
I know.
Is that your animation shows what an actor and what a performer, entertainer you are. Because when you do radio, if you don't have that enthusiasm, if I couldn't look at you and get a contact high,
right,
which is what starts happening, and people think that we're just sitting here and talking. No, you have to be as if you were on screen, because expression comes through our faces.
Yes.
You know, it comes through our eyes and through our smiles and our expressions and everything, and we're sitting here and we're like cracking up.
I mean, it's
like this is the most fun thing we could ever do. But if you don't have that energy, who's going to listen to you?
No, I mean, if you're like, I'm having a really good time right now.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
No, but so the thing about it is, the person who really gets the earful is Ryan. Our
Really?
engineer and
He is
producer.
so
cute.
He
is very cute.
Oh, he's
got
darling.
Lots of hair. That guy.
Oh, yeah. He's
on his
hot.
head. I'm
He's
talking about
hot.
on his head.
We love it. And he's excited with us, even though he's behind the glass. We can't look at him the whole time, but we know he's there.
I know when I look over and sometimes he's shaking his head and he's laughing, you know. Because, we're here in Christmas time and Hanukkah. And I think Kwanzaa is around. And all. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on in December.
Whoa, and you know more than I even do. Because
I do?
I didn't even know that. What is it called?
Kwanzaa. Yes.
Oh, my God. I've been living under a rock.
Oh, that's where I
Kwanzaa?
am, apparently. I'm in the cave. You're into the rock? Okay. Together, we're cave girls.
Well, I got called a cave woman one
you
time.
You did?
Yes.
For what?
Because when I opened up Mariposa and I wanted to cook and prepare everything in the most natural way, meaning on wood. Easier said than done.
Right.
And they quoted me as being like a cave woman concept in my style there, which has been a challenge in and of itself, because we do grill all the meats and bake many of the vegetables in wood ovens and grills and things. Easier said than done, but I think that could be another segment.
I think so. Well, I'm going to tell you the most gorgeous, like non-cave woman I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm just saying, like, seriously.
Oh.
That was because it was like you before your time.
Yeah.
They're like, what is she doing with wood? You know,
Yeah.
and like, hello.
Well, it's very primitive, it's very primal in every way. But you also realize that I also think about all the things like the environment, etc. But I feel like there's a part of me that always wishes that we could go back to the old days.
Wouldn't? Oh, gosh,
And
yes.
I am a pioneer in the strangest of ways that I don't even always understand myself. But I am self-admittedly kind of Renaissance or Victorian or cave woman or whatever it is from another time. So when I cook, I have to be true to who I am. I am not going to be the fanciest, the most up on every trend. What I want is the most satisfied guest reaction that we can have within the fact that we're all just human and things can happen. But I strive for consistency above anything else. And that cellular memory that brings people back over and over because they know what they're going to have. You can't give them a wild card and think that it's going to work if they don't know the style that your culinary is about. And that's what is kind of the old-fashioned part of me because I am from Indiana, even though my mom, my grandma, and you hear me talk about my Nanny Barbara that taught me the soul food, but it's still the old-fashioned methods that I think are the tried and true.
Yes. I was kind of giggling there for a moment because I was thinking, you can't give somebody something that they're not expecting.
Yes.
Like, I'm coming here for a holiday meal, and then you throw something in like fried chicken.
That's
You go,
right.
No, that
It's
is
true.
not correct.
And,
I mean, you can do that,
Yeah.
but not when you're going out. When
Exactly.
you're expecting a certain kind of entree.
And their
you know.
expectation is really important. Now, I know that Thanksgiving has come and gone, but in reality, I will reflect on something that stuck with me very early on in one of my first Thanksgiving dinners, when a guest said to me that we never would have thought that we would have a quality of a Thanksgiving dinner as good as if we had stayed at home. And when I heard that, I realized, wow, people's expectations, if they are traveling at a time that they're usually in their own homes, you have to give them that cellular memory as best as you
So
can.
true.
And that to me is the responsibility of a restaurateur, is to not make light of that, because if you achieve that or even surpass what they expected, you've got a home run, and you've got a guest that will come back and trust you. And it's a very big thing. It's not just a light thing. And I wish I could say that 100 times out of 100 that we meet that in any one restaurant, but we strive for over 100, because you have to aim for the star.
Yep.
And not be and just be relentless to try to achieve that as your modicum of excellence.
Okay, so now some questions for you. Since
Yes.
it's the holiday season, what is your favorite part of the holidays? And we know food is part of that, everything, but what on a personal, like what personally do you love about the holidays, especially this month in December?
Oh my goodness, that's really, I think that I love what goes into preparing for the holidays for other people.
Okay.
Now that might sound, corny or something. Many people know that my son Justin is no longer with me.
Yes.
So since that time, the holidays have always taken on different meaning.
Of course.
And I'm not saying this to make people sad. As a matter of fact, I've done some podcasts recently about recreating that experience through the, as they say, living vicariously through others. It brings joy to me when people are fulfilled that their holiday is everything they want it to be. So I don't know if everyone around here knows that each of our restaurants gets decorated as if it was our own home.
Love it.
So the love that goes into that is truly a labor of love of my brother Jay. My brother Jay lives vicariously through my mother's talent of decorating our stores, which were like you would walk into them, the minute that Thanksgiving's over, Christmas decorations and all of these holiday decorations start. It's such a labor of love. No one could imagine what goes into doing that in the restaurants, where each restaurant has a different theme. It's all about the holidays, but some restaurants are bigger than others, and it's color schemes, and it's sorting through things, and it's unpacking and getting on ladders and streaming, and it's
a thing.
I could not do it, but when you know what we do, and you see that from entering the village of Oak Creek all the way through West Sedona, and every single restaurant has its own colored lights and its garlands and everything that Jay does. He's also always looking for elves that will help him. But my brother, he is just an angel to do this work. It involves a lot of physical. And then you have to also put it all away.
Oh, and that's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part. So the next year.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, Jay, if you buy another ornament, I'm going to kill you. I know Mom is really happy what you are doing here. But it's all the preparation that, if you were to boil that down to one word, it's love. And putting love into that for others of all ages is what floats our boat. Now my brother Ron and his wonderful wife Mary also help Jay. Now that they live in the area, they help. But this is what's left in my family, is what goes into our beautiful family of restaurants and all of the people that come and enjoy it. But when you do visit, you'll notice more the subtlety, and in some cases the non-subtlety of all the moving parts that are really going on. So to say that things have changed a bit for me, it's not a present someone can give me anymore. These holidays are more about what can we do to fulfill the expectations of people that are relying on us. Maybe it's their first holiday without a family member. Maybe they don't want to be at home this year because the memories are too sad. So they're coming to a restaurant for the first time. They've gone to Christmas or Hanukkah in a restaurant or any of the holidays that it's now would be too painful to celebrate that at home.
You bring up a great point, because a lot of us, and I don't know anybody who isn't going through something right now.
Exactly.
And so we just have to find that joy of gratitude. I think if we just focus on the gratitude of what is happening in our lives. And yes, it is hard. It is a very hard transition, when you have had people around you that you love and they're no longer there for one reason or another. It's very difficult. And
I think about it more and more all the time. We had several deaths in our community in the area that I live in. One gentleman, they were married 57 years, although they didn't look like it. And he was an artist. And when he came to talk to me about having a celebration of life for his wife, Martha, and when he was sharing the stories, and some of them, it became a cathartic situation. He wants to come and find out, what can we do? Where can we be? Blah, blah, all the things that go along with a very delicate subject. But you're opening your hearts to this. And as he's sharing with me, he's telling me funny stories from the early days of their courtship and things like that. And it becomes very cathartic because it's an interchange. And, people don't think that, I'm sorry, I might start getting teary-eyed, is that as a restaurateur, you take on things that you don't think of just in the daily fare.
Right.
And when he came to my office and sat down, I realized that I needed to stop all my, all the frazzled things that go on in the course of a day of being a life of a restaurateur and listen. And when I listened, it was so amazing how my heart was touched, and it also made him feel better. And part of that is part of a healing process that takes a long time. Then they had a release of butterflies that he nurtured to where they would fly, and everything turned out to be so great. We had probably about 50, maybe he said 41 people, and actually it turned out it was 41 people that came to the patio and inside of the taverna room at Cucina. And that is a fulfillment of a restaurateur in a way that I think touches on everything that I'm doing with our foundation, because that's the feel-good stuff.
It is.
That gets you through all the other
No, I know. Because
stuff that is nerve-wracking.
I don't know how you do what you do. And, here's the thing. Like, you have to clone yourself. There's 3 restaurants that seem to be doing all the holiday things, right? There's Mariposa, there's Dawn DeLuca, there's Cucina Rustica.
Well, yes and no. I do have to correct you on one thing.
Okay.
You go into any Pizza Lisa or Butterfly Burger, there are people that look at the things that Jay puts out, the little moving things. And those restaurants, we attract the eye of the kids, big and little. Jay has a storehouse, and quite honestly, we do have a storage unit. It grows and grows. But of all the different things that move and this and that, and we have these lanterns that when you move them, they're like this snow globes and people want to buy them. It's crazy. Go into Pizza Lisa anytime. He's probably starting it now. And I say, Jay, please don't take down the fall until we get through this, because it's nerve-wracking to see all the stuff that he puts out, but it is a joy for others. And I think that it's something that is that old-fashioned spirit that we need to keep alive, because we're never going to be automated. When our restaurants become like that, we won't be here. And I want people to know that we at Dahl Restaurants will not be here when things are not having the touches that make people twinkle.
Right.
And if they can feel good from when they enter, then they're going to feel good and they're going to take us with them. And that's the point of all of it. We don't want to be status quo.
No, I know. So here, for those of you who are looking for that special gift, because we're talking about this, the nurturing gift, the fabulous gift, you've got 2 cookbooks. Yeah. One is called The Elixir
of Life.
And
yes.
the next one is
A Romance with Food.
Okay. And they can get them. And they can get them where?
Well, they get them on our website, cheflisadahl.com or dahlrestaurantgroup.com. But I do want to tell you something. This isn't about selling cookbooks, because quite honestly, I'm not even sure how many we have to sell. And I know that we do have enough, but we don't promote in that way.
I'm promoting it.
Well, thank you.
Because you know why? I have the first one,
you.
The Elixir of Life, and it's a gorgeous book.
And it is
Beautiful
a novel.
recipes.
Shondra, one thing, and I don't like to interrupt you, but I want to say that the gift that comes back to me is that every day I'm in the restaurants and somebody asks me a question, and they might even be asking for a recipe or something that they had in the restaurants. The Elixir of Life, I wrote in 2010. Elixir of Life is still selling, and people still, because I say it's more the foundations that put us here on the map, and some of the Italian and the things that I do for parties and the hooks and the things that are in that book that might look like they're not the biggest things I get asked for. So I was at Pizza Lisa in the Village the other day, and 2 ladies were ready to jump on a plane, and they were raving raving over the luscious lemon hummus that is. They said, we've never had hummus like this from anywhere. And I said, hey, take a screenshot. You don't have to buy a book.
Oh, that's
take
so
a
nice.
screenshot because they wanted it. They were taking some with them for going on the plane. I said, don't open that on the plane. Nobody will like you. They're going to actually eat it in the airport. But my recipe, quite honestly, doesn't have a lot of garlic. It has a method that anyone can learn and produce, but it has all the soups. But the main thing I want to get across is that when people take it and then I see them in one of the restaurants, maybe the day after they tell me that they've bought it and that they sat and they read it, and in some cases they say that they cried. In some cases they wanted to meet me, but they felt that they read it like a novel because the story that unfolds about the why I cook and how it's led to what I do, that's what the elixir of life is. The second book, A Romance with Food, picked up and took much longer to write because I had multiple restaurants at the time. Whereas the elixir wrote itself through me, because of the pandemic, because of the challenges that were taking place in the real time of trying to finish A Romance with Food, which started with my travel journey to South America before Mariposa was born. And in the midst of that, it was gathering the methods to learn how to make the things that I loved in an authentic way, but be true to myself with my own interpretations. So you have an Italian Mediterranean book and then a Latin with some of the hooks of perhaps more meats, more things, but still has soups and the savory things, combined condiments, of course. They come together kind of as a sequel. Some people do take them both, or they take them from one restaurant that they were in. But they are a product that I self-published, and so they weren't done through a large publisher. And I think we better start counting them because nowadays, if we go back to reprint,
yes,
which could be within the next few months,
right,
we will wait an extraordinary amount of time for what used to take probably 4 to 5 months to get.
Everything
and
is
I'm
like
fearful of what the cost will be.
I know.
I'm very fearful because we have printed in China in the highest quality factory publishing houses.
Yeah.
And now with the tariffs, God knows what that's going to cost. So,
well, I want to finish this up because here we are at the end of 2025 and the end of the show at the moment. We only have two more, or maybe, I think, 3 more.
I love being your sponsor. You have no idea.
Thank you for being my
Shondra,
presenting sponsor.
Presenting sponsor. You have no idea. It's an honor, Shondra.
Thank you so much. And I got to say, I know you've got this big event coming up. I just want to touch on this before we leave. So just mention the dates. I will. It's December 12th.
Yes,
that's at Mariposa.
The Mariposa phenomenal luncheon with all the incredible entertainment and the bells and whistles beyond what I can even express in words.
And then we have December 13th at Dahl and DeLuca. That is the 30th anniversary.
It certainly is.
Also, please remember that the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, which is at Pisa Lisa in the Village. These are great parties, and it's all going to help your foundation.
It really is.
Soup Hope, and I love this.
And there's going to be so much food that's going to be sampled, and everyone at the luncheon is going to try Soup Hope if they already haven't. But then again, at the Pisa Lisa, I'm going to sample goodies. Of course, they love our Tuscan tomato soup, but I'm going to sample Soup Hope, make pizza, have all kinds of goodies. But one of the most exciting things for us will be our first ever private label wine, and it's called Passionista de Sedona.
Ooh,
and it's a GSM. It's an amazing wine out of Paso Robles, and everyone that has ever tried it so far early on is in love with it. So those that haven't, they can also purchase it, which is
Ooh,
so
that's good.
exciting
Last-minute
for the
gifts.
holidays.
Last minute gift.
And
So-
I'm gifting a lot of things. That's
Oh.
something that people will
Very nice.
understand when they're there.
You're very generous. LisaDahlFoundation.org is where you're going to find all that information. Make sure you check it out. This is really cool, you guys. This is only happening this year, so please take advantage. Chef Lisa Dahl, thank you for being here.
So excited
Merry
always.
Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
To you. Shalom. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you. And we're going to be right back, so stay with me.
You can taste it in every bite. For over 30 years, Chef Lisa Dahl has redefined what it means to dine in Sedona, serving soulful, handcrafted cuisine inspired by love, artistry, and community. From the wood-fired kitchens of Mariposa to the couture flair of Butterfly Burger, every experience is elevated, every ingredient intentional. To learn more about Lisa Dahl and the Dahl restaurants, please visit cheflisadahl.com.
Need a clean car fast? Come to Cleaner, Quicker Car Wash. We'll have you sparkling and back on the road in minutes. Whether you're after a quick shine or a deep clean, you'll get top quality service, eco-friendly soaps, and smiles all around. Drive up, shine up, and feel good, all without slowing down your day, and look like a star in your car. Located in West Sedona on Highway 89A. For more information, visit cleanerquickercarwash.com.
Here's more of Sedona's Backstage Pass with Shondra, presented by the Dahl Group.
I am thrilled to have my next guest on. She is a mover and a shaker with the Red Rock Quilters Guild. This is exciting to me. I mean, there are some obvious reasons, the Dead Quilters Society musical that we just did in November and going on. But more importantly, all of the wonderful things that Lori Feine is doing with the Red Rock Quilters Guild here in Sedona. Thank you, Lori, for being here with me today. This is wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
This is great. How long have you been quilting?
I started quilting in 2010, so about 15 years.
Wow, not that long,
No.
really. Did someone teach you how to quilt?
Yes, but in a kind of roundabout way. So I had a best friend, and she and I decided we wanted to learn how to quilt, but we had very busy, very high-stress jobs, so we never had time.
Okay.
So I had a break from work, and I decided to take a class. And so I took a beginner's quilting class, and they taught us everything about it, from how to pick the fabric, to cutting it, to putting it together, how to do the whole thing. My friend did not get to take that class. I loved it and continued on. She finally took it later.
That's interesting.
Hated every minute of it.
Oh, you're kidding.
And never picked up another quilt again.
Oh, my gosh. But you went on.
I did.
And where was this? Was that
In
here?
San Diego.
Oh, in San Diego. Oh, that's where my husband and I moved from, San Diego. So you've been living in Sedona for 15 years? Not 15 years.
We've
How
lived in
long?
Sedona since 2019.
Oh, okay. A newbie.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Kinda, sorta.
Newbie. Yeah, that's it. Welcome to Sedona. I can say that because, there are people like us that have been here for 23 years. And longer, I might say. We might be newbies compared. So now you have to tell me about the origins of quilting. How far back does it go?
I don't know the exact information on that, but it goes way back because it was one of the first ways that people made blankets and things like that to keep themselves warm. And so it started off in the pioneer days, at least here, and people would save up every scrap of fabric that they can have, and they would sew it together. The women would sew it together and make blankets, bedding, things like that. And so back then it was very practical. It wasn't very pretty, right? It was always had a purpose. And then as it's moved through time, the purpose is still there, but now there's more pretty. So the designs are prettier, the fabrics are prettier, the methods are more advanced, things like that.
Interesting. So I have to ask, like in our show, the Dead Quilters Society, now these are ladies from the they're in the afterlife, right? But they come together, have conversations. Is quilting about that as well?
It
That's
is.
how I've always felt that way. And there was the movie American Quilters, I think it was called, and it is just a bonding thing too.
It is. So one of the most fun things that the Guild does is different groups of women get together and quilt together. They might work on their own project, but they're together and they're chatting as they are doing it. They're communicating. This morning I had a Zoom call of quilters, and we were talking about different things related to projects that we have coming up and things like that. So, yeah, it is definitely still a bonding. It's in some cases, it might be a woman's only social outlet.
Aha.
So.
Yes. So there's probably some good conversations that go on in these quilting circles, right? I love that. I love it. So we're on it. We're actually on page with what really does happen with our show.
You are. Your show is great, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Makes me feel so good. Now, I have walked into the community library Sedona, and I've seen those beautiful quilts hanging there in the community room. And they're just gorgeous. Tell us about this show that's coming up in January. It's exciting.
So we will be having our 31st annual. 31st annual Quilt Show.
Wow.
We partner now with the community library, and it will be as you described. They will hang from the rafters. They will hang from literally every location that we could put a quilt. There will be a quilt. The show dates will be January 5th. That's our opening day, and our closing day will be February 28th. So from a quilt show perspective, we are very unique. Most quilt shows that you will find last for 2 days.
Ooh,
Ours lasts for 2 months.
I love that.
So it really gives the community an opportunity to get in there and see the quilts. Many people go more than one time. So
they're
there's
beautiful.
That.
They
are
seriously gorgeous. And you are the producer of that show.
I am. I'm the chair.
Yes. I have to tell you, it's the truth. When I AI'd you, I know this is like so weird to say, but I AI'd Lori Feine. There you were, and clearly it said you were a prominent figure. You were the chair. You were the events, not only the coordinator, but the producer. And it's a big gig.
It is. It's a lot of responsibility, but I don't do it by myself.
Yes,
I do have a committee. Everybody has a piece of the pie that we spread. So we spread out the work because it takes a lot to put this on every year. And so we usually have. It depends on the year, but our maximum is about 85 entries. That's about all the library has room for.
Wow,
so there is
85 quilts.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. And of all different styles, all different types. You can see the ebb and flow each year. It just seems like everybody's in a different mood sometimes.
That's interesting.
So sometimes the colors are bright, sometimes the colors are dull, and it's all different kinds of quilts. But people notice and they'll say, "Oh, it's very different than last year," or "It's brighter," or "It's whatever," whatever they've noticed about
That's
it.
so interesting to me. So it's sort of a reflection of how everyone is feeling, perhaps that year.
Yeah, the year that we had that we were in COVID. Excuse me. We had a display of quilts made during the COVID time, and we hung them all together. And they weren't necessarily about COVID, but they were made during that time when everybody was isolated, and they had their own look and feel to them. It was very different.
And it's now when you're doing this, when the group is doing this, let's say in the COVID years, okay, how did you bring them together? I mean, did everybody come together and do this, or did you take the quilt to different people and then they added? How did you do
No, during COVID, everybody was really on their own. And so you were in your own studio, your own sewing room, wherever you do your thing, making your own quilts. And the advent of Zoom was a savior for us because we could have meetings on Zoom. And so we would have our guild meetings on Zoom, or we would have our charity sewing group on Zoom, or whatever we needed to do to try to help keep people staying together and not feeling so isolated.
That was a really good thing. I mean, seriously, that was great. So now I know that you have meetings. They're monthly meetings. Is it anybody can come?
Anybody can come. The guild meets the second Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
From 9 to about noon. And the meetings usually consist of some business that has to be done. And then we usually have some sort of a lecture, a demonstration, a trunk show. Somebody comes. There's some sort of a program in each show, in each meeting. And then sometimes there's a class, which we'll have in the afternoon.
You know, I'm going to ask you this a little bit later, but I want to write it down. What is the website?
It is Red Rock Quilters. .org. O-R-G.
Yes. Red Rock Quilters is a tongue twister. Let's say that 5 times really fast. Red Rock Quilters. Yes. .org.
Yes.
Good. All right. So if any of you are listening and you want more information, want to join, is it a joining membership? Mm-hmm. Does it cost anything to join?
It does. Membership is $30 for a year.
That's awesome.
That's not a lot considering what you get. Go on the website. It shows our upcoming events. We try to keep it up to date so that we have throughout the month, we have different activities and meetings that you can participate in. You can be a visitor for a couple of meetings and see what we're like, see if your personality gels with ours. Guilds themselves have their own personality. Some are very traditional, some are very progressive. Ours happens to be a combination. So we have guild members who like to do traditional piecing, and we have guild members who like to do very modern and art quilts. So a combination of the two. And so it's a really interesting mixture.
So you're welcoming everyone. I love that.
We try. Yeah,
I think
we
that's
try.
Great. So now I want to ask you, you've got the membership meetings, and you said, again, guests can come a couple of times to see if they are jiving with the tone of everything. When do you get together and quilt? And do you do that?
We
do. Come together and quilt?
Yeah, we do. We have a monthly sewing day, and we meet at the same church that we meet at for our meetings. And we have about 4 hours blocked out where people can come. They can bring their own project, their own equipment, whatever they need. And they can either help somebody else with their project, work on their own project, sit and talk and do nothing else. So it's just a nice time to be together. The other thing that we do is we work with the Historical Society, and we have Mondays at the museum, and we do the first Monday of each month, and we do handwork at that. So people can come and join us. There's usually 3 or 4, sometimes more, Red Rock Quilters there. They're all doing their own handwork projects. They can explain it to you. They can show you what they're working on. You can work on it with them. So there's different things like that.
I love that. Well, one of my sponsors is Sedona Heritage Museum. Mm-hmm. We love having you over there at the museum. Is there a difference between Red Rock Quilters and the Red Rock Quilters Guild?
No.
Okay, so they're the same.
Yeah.
One and the same. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. First Monday of every month at Sedona Heritage Museum. That's fantastic. Now, I have to ask you, you have no family in the quilting, because you said this was something. How did you get thinking about quilting?
Well, I had a man that I worked for at one point. His wife was very into quilting, and back then she was an art quilter, which was quite avant-garde back then, because everybody was a piecer. And she would show me some things that she would work on, and I would be in her studio, and I'd think, this sounds really interesting to me. So that's kind of where I think the spark was. And then, but she wasn't a teacher, it wasn't that. And so it just kind of percolated for a while until I was finally able to take a class and see what it really was about. And then I just went from there.
Okay. Were you crafty as a kid? Did you do things like that?
I am. My grandmother taught me how to crochet and to hand embroider when I was a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
Which I still do to this day. And I was writing something one time about myself, and I said, at the end, Grandma would be proud, because I still do those things and more now. So I like to work with my hands, and quilting gives me that outlet as well as an artistic outlet. There's some intellectual stuff that happens when you quilt, right? You have to do what we call quilt math.
Ooh,
and I know
that's cool. What
it's
is
no fun.
that?
It's no fun.
No, is it like, oh, this is the techie part?
Yeah, it is.
There's like
It's
an actual techie part of quilting.
Yeah, when you have to figure out how big a piece of something do you need, and how are you going to cut it, and how is it going to fit, and what's your seam allowance, and so there's a technical side of quilting, and you just have to learn that, and then you can apply that to whatever you happen to be working on.
So, do you do this by hand, or is it by a sewing machine?
Both.
Both.
So
Okay.
right now, so I try to have 2 or 3 different projects going at any time, so that I don't get bored with one. So I
Yeah.
usually have some sort of a piecing project going, some sort of an art quilt going, and right now I'm teaching myself how to do hand applique. So I do have a quilt that I am making by hand.
Very cool. Now, have you made quilts where the material means something to you? So when I think of a quilt, I think like that.
So years ago, I started when Dale, my husband's name is Dale. When Dale and I would travel, I started buying a yard of fabric at a quilt shop wherever we happened to be.
Cool.
And at the end of each year, I turn those into what I call a travel quilt. And
Love
so
that.
the patterns are all whatever it happens to be. The fabrics don't necessarily go together. And then on the back, I put a label that shows all the places that all those fabrics were purchased. So it's kind of like our quilted scrapbook, if you will.
I love this. I have to tell, I'm going to share something with you. I don't think I've ever shared this, certainly not with an audience. I'm a blanket person. I'm like Linus, okay? Like I have my favorite blankets and they're nice and soft. And the idea of having a quilt where it means something to you, I'm like sitting over here going, it's so great. So the fact that you're picking up pieces and you're making something yourself that's memorable, meaningful. And now you also do a lot with the community.
We do. The Guild does,
You
yes.
have to tell me about Champ.
Okay, so Champ is one of our main nonprofits that we support as a guild. They are located in Phoenix, and they support children and families who are going through cancer treatment.
Okay.
So the kids have cancer, and it's a terrible thing. And so Champ helps them and the families get through it.
What does that stand for, Champ?
It doesn't really stand for anything that would mean anything.
Okay.
It's
like champion.
yeah.
Championing.
But it's really it's not an acronym for
Got
anything.
it. Okay.
So what our guild does is the Champ organization has up to 3 retreats a year, and they have them up in Oak Creek Canyon. And we provide them with a quilt made for each child that is going through treatment.
Okay.
And we present those. So their retreats are somewhere between 4 and 6 families at a time. And the kids range from 3 years old up to 18. So that range of kid. So we try to make quilts for that variety, and we donate them, and we actually present them to the kids at the retreats.
Oh my goodness.
And then the kids have siblings. The kids on treatment have siblings, and so we don't want to leave them out. So we make pillowcases, and then the kids get to pick out their pillowcase. So whatever they like.
That's so cool.
And it's just one of our ways of supporting that mission that organization has. The other thing that we do is at the end of each year, our charity group donates quilts to places like Accord Hospice or Sedona Winds, places like that. And in Sedona Winds' case, sometimes, though we have been told that sometimes that's the only gift we give them around Christmas, that's the only gift that those people receive.
Oh,
so that's
hard.
very like, so that's important to us. And then we also make other items besides quilts that go to various things. We make dog and cat beds for the Humane Society.
Oh, how wonderful.
We make clothing protectors for the various assisted living facilities, things like that. Walker bags. If you're not using a walker, you can't use your hands, so you need a place to put all your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we make bags for that. So all different kinds of things like that.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, now, are you located in Sedona? Are you living in Sedona?
I live in the village.
So, are you retired?
I am.
Okay. What did you do before this?
I worked in high tech. I ended my career as the vice president of supply chain and manufacturing for a semiconductor company.
Oh my gosh, this is like completely different. I love it.
Very.
You know, I mean, really. I mean, you needed that outlet. I think that's what drew you, right?
Yep.
It's just so like connected with people and the community and all of that. Now, let's see. I wanted to ask you some more. What was the most difficult quilt you ever made?
So about a year and a half ago, I took on a project to make a quilt. It's called a Taos quilt. Taos, like Taos, New Mexico.
Yes.
And I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. And so I would work on it, and I'd be going fine. And then all of a sudden you'd hit a spot where nothing's working. It won't sew together right. It doesn't match. The points don't match, all the things. And I would just have to walk away. I'd be like, I'm done. I'm walking away. So my husband affectionately named that quilt the walkaway quilt because I went through that the whole time. I did finish it.
Good.
It's huge. It's king size. That's the other issue. It was so big.
Wow.
But it's beautiful, and I'm glad I did it. I don't know if I'll ever take on another one of those. But yeah, he still talks. He still tells people about the walkaway quilt.
How long did it take you?
Oh, I don't know. A couple of months.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
the normal is what?
Well, if you really sit down and just work on a quilt, you can make a quilt in a week or two.
Oh, wow.
You know, start
Okay.
to finish. Sometimes less, sometimes more. Just depends on how big and how intricate it is. So that one actually took me quite a long time.
God, that's amazing to me. Well, I would never expect it to only be like a week and a half to 2 weeks to make a quilt. Is that the largest piece you've ever made?
The walkaway is, yeah. That's the biggest one I've ever made.
Okay. And have you influenced young people in this?
That is one of the things that we're trying to work on.
Okay.
We've been talking about, one of the things that's a concern is that the art of quilting is going to be lost.
Right.
Because the younger people, the younger generation is just not picking up on it. So we have a plan. It's a future thing to work with through the library, who we help with they help us out with the library quilt show. We want to have some sort of a youth project so that the kids can come and make a square, make a quilt, make something.
Yes.
And then we'll allow them to enter it in our show.
Oh, I love that.
So that's not going to be for this year because we just don't have enough time by the time we started thinking about all the things that have to be done. But that is a project that we are definitely going to try.
That's wonderful.
So we do recognize as a group that the younger generation is not being exposed to quilting as much. And so we are kind of taking it on as our job to help that happen.
Yes. Well, I think I applaud you. I just do. You know, your work is beautiful. The show is fabulous. Make sure to tell us when the show is again.
January 5th through February 28th.
Right. Doesn't cost anything to go.
No.
And it's at the Community Library Sedona.
Correct.
And I'm thrilled. I cannot wait to see more of your work. And thank you for all that you do in the community. And just remember, everybody, you want to visit Red Rock Quilter. It's not quilters.
Quilters.
Okay, redrockquilters.org. And help them out. Make a donation. I'm sure that you are a nonprofit, correct? Make a donation to these wonderful, wonderful quilters. And thank you, Lori Feine, for being here. And everybody stay with me. We'll be right back.
You've explored the trails, stood in awe of the red rocks. Now, discover how Sedona became Sedona. The Sedona Heritage Museum tells the story of Red Rock country, from ancient cultures to today's vibrant community. It's interactive, family-friendly, and open year-round, indoors and out. Sedona Heritage Museum, preserving and sharing the soul of Red Rock country. Plan your visit at sedonamuseum.org or call 928-282-7038.
Take a deep breath, then let it go. At Sedona's New Day Spa, your escape begins the moment you arrive. Enjoy luxurious massages, rejuvenating facials, and native-inspired body treatments. Every moment is designed to restore balance and renew your spirit. Voted Sedona's Best Day Spa, this is more than self-care. It's your sanctuary. Book your experience today at SedonaNewDaySpa.com or call 928-282-7502.
When your project demands precision, experience, and trust, turn to Sefton Engineering Consultants. From expert civil engineering to construction management, we deliver real-world solutions that stand the test of time. With over 30 years in the business, Luke Sefton's team is committed to getting your project done right, on time, and on budget. Sefton Engineering Consultants. Reliable, experienced, personal. Learn more at SeftonEngineeringConsultants.com. Here's more of Backstage Pass with Shondra, brought to you by Chef Lisa Dahl.
You know, it is such a joy to do this show every Saturday at 10 a.m. And I just got, thank you for, oh, do you hear that? You know what this means? It means it's time for my shameless Shondra spot. All right, I've got some great news for you just today. Okay, this is exciting. I just found out, and I've let my creative partner know this. I have found out that Weird Detention, also known now as High School Detention, the musical, is officially been accepted into the Sedona International Film Festival. Woo-hoo-hoo! I am so excited about this. And not many people know. All right. Not many people know. I can't thank Patrick Schweiss and his team of film watchers, I guess is what we would refer to them as. There are different groups of people that actually watch all the films. I want you to know that the Sedona International Film Festival was in Movie Maker magazine, and they are, and this is incredible, they are in the top 25 film festivals around the world. I think I had said this a week or so ago, and I thought it was just in this country. But no, it's around the world. And then, because they're in the top 50 film festivals that it's worth to enter into, and by the way, if you don't know this, when you're a filmmaker, and I know this from my own music video that ended up being in 13 film festivals around the world, I have to tell you, it's expensive. There's a lot of fees that go into submitting your film or whatever you're submitting, right? So we did this, of course, we were told to do this. And I just heard that because of the magazine promotionals and all that information and big story on them and everything about being such a great film festival, their entries doubled. So we were in that group. We were actually in a doubled version of what normally comes in. So I am so thrilled. That's like a double thrill for me. And so for all of you who helped us with donating to making this movie a reality after 6 years of it was long 6 years. Hard work, lots of hard work. And this is an indie film. And by the way, excuse me, I have to tell you that this is a film that we are going to offer to all schools for kids between the age of, like, I would say middle school. So what is that, like 12 to 15, right? Those are considered, you've got tweens in there, 12, 11, 12, all the way up to about 15 and teenagers, but not necessarily high school, but middle school. We're offering this movie to all schools across the country and perhaps around the world to give it to them for free. So the movie is only 40 minutes. It's a short narrative, and it's on the high side of a short narrative film. And I'm just so thrilled that that didn't hold us back from being accepted into the Sedona International Film Festival. So a big thank you to SIF. Thank you, Patrick Schweiss. Thank you to those who watched the movie and accepted us in. Tell everybody. I have a feeling he's going to make a big deal about it because so many of you donated who live here in Sedona. And so there's the big news. And thank you so much for all of your donations. And we'll see you at the Sedona International Film Festival this coming February in 2026. High School Detention, the musical. Oh my gosh, what a show. And what fun news to be able to tell you. I'm just so thrilled. You know, I just want to thank everybody for listening all the time. You come in and you're listening, you're tuning in. And even if it's after the fact, I sure appreciate it. Remember, we're always on Spotify, we're on Pandora Radio, Apple Podcasts, even YouTube. And I want to thank my fabulous producer and engineer, Ryan Thompson. You always make this show sound so professional. Thank you so much with all your talents. And I want to thank also the owner of MeloMountainRadio.com, 106.5 Chasm, KAZM, and 780 AM. And I just want to thank you, Chuck Helstein. You're terrific. And my sponsors, of course. Without them, I could not do this show. Sedona Heritage Museum, Sefton Engineering, Cleaner Quicker Car Wash, Sedona New Day Spa, Sedona Ballet, and my presenting sponsor, the awesome Chef Lisa Dahl and the Dahl Group. Thank you so much, everybody. And again, thank you to all of you who listen, because if you aren't listening, coming in, tuning in every Saturday, what would I do? Nobody would be hearing this. So I so appreciate you and all of my guests that come on. And I will see you next Saturday. So get your VIP pass out ready. And if you don't catch it on Saturday, remember, catch it online. You'll find it everywhere. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. on MeloMountainRadio.com.